Welcome to Up the Town.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Up the Town. We are the champions, baby. Wrexham have done it. They have gained promotion to the Football League. Rob and Ryan's promise to get us there has been fulfilled, and now, hopefully the sky's the limit. I am back in the U.S. after a whirlwind, amazing trip to Wrexham, also attending the FA Cup semifinal between Man United and Brighton. But we're going to talk about kind of the whole experience that happened while in Wrexham, and just some awesome, awesome people that I've met, and really just some amazing experiences. So I got to Wrexham on Friday morning, last Friday, well, not Wrexham. I actually got into the UK last Friday morning, flew into London, took the train up from London into Wrexham, had to change a few things, had a train cancellation, so got there a little bit later than I had hoped for, but that's fine. Got there, went straight to the turf, had a little chat with Wayne, talked about kind of setting up for the podcast. Went back, met my friend Kyle. Some of you who met me probably met him as well. Kyle is in the military. He is stationed in Cambridge, just north of London, and he's come with me to a few matches in Wrexham as well. So just a really cool kind of chill Friday that led into a fun evening. We set up on an old bourbon barrel, shockingly enough, which is hilarious for those of you that know my other podcast, Bourbon with Friends. That was kind of interesting. Set the mics up on there. We sat up in the room with all the bricks and where Rob and Ryan signed the wall. Very cool, very interesting. And Wayne and I did a podcast there. We also did kind of not another show, but it's tagged on to the Live at the Turf show. So it was very fun to do that in the turf. People were coming by, buying us drinks, was setting things down. We weren't going to really necessarily drink a whole lot of beer, but the beer just kept showing up, so you can't really turn down free beer. A couple other interesting things happened within that day. Was sitting there, and a gentleman had come by with ITV News, and then next thing you know, I'm in the racecourse ground. I'm right next to the pitch, getting interviewed for ITV News. A little bit after that, we had had a few drinks and then enjoyed enjoyed some company, some laughs, talked to Wayne a little bit more, and then did a show. After that, we got interviewed by the Daily Mail. One gentleman does a column. I think they both do sports columns. So one of them's writing a book, and the other one was kind of documenting the pictures and things like that. It was just a really cool experience to have that. Saturday was just an incredible day. Obviously, the culmination of Wrexham winning the title, but just the entire atmosphere, getting to the turf, front of the line, meeting people. We had two tables from people from Colorado and Alabama, Texas, Kentucky, Canada. It was just an amazing thing to meet so many new people and make friends. And obviously through the match, so many other people, came up to us, or we came up to them and had conversations, having a few beers, having some laughs, doing some sing-songs. We knew we needed food at some point, and so we actually ordered Papa John's. They delivered it straight to the turf. We went outside. There's pictures online with that. It's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, there's a stir in the turf, and next thing you know, there is Ant-Man. Ant-Man, Mr. Paul Rudd, is sitting on the seat in the turf having a beer. Went over there, got to see him interacting with Wayne a little bit. But also snagged a little picture with him as he walked by, said a little, had a 10-second little back and forth, and that was the end of it. But it was pretty cool to see Ant-Man in there. There's more about that here kind of as a follow-up. But the anticipation really built all day in the turf, just seeing the atmosphere and the anticipation. And as we got closer to the match, the songs got louder and the people, the fans were more intense. The beer was flowing a little bit more. We were very excited. I honestly was not nervous about the match whatsoever until a minute in. and Bournemouth scored. And I think a lot of us were in that moment of like, what the shit just happened? It was such a fluke goal. Look, credit to them is a brilliant finish. Nothing that Ben Foster could do, obviously. Great finish, and just you didn't necessarily go, oh shit, we're gonna lose, but there was just that sense of, is this gonna be one of those matches where we're gonna have to pull something out at the death, or we're just not gonna play very well? And then obviously Elliot Lee comes in with a header, and then Paul Mullen does what Paul Mullen does best, and just absolutely scores two absolutely brilliant goals. And there you go, 3-1, full whistle sounds, and Wrexham are champions. And it was seeing Rob and Ryan embrace and what it meant to them, but not just that, but I actually didn't have tickets to the match. I went because I wanted to be there for the event. I wanted to be in the town to watch Wrexham win the title. And the turf was just an amazing experience. First time I've ever watched a match in the turf and not been in the race course. So just a phenomenal experience. Every goal, every whistle, every foul, you felt it. It was almost like we were in the ground. It was just an extension of the ground. And it was so loud in there when Wrexham scored or anything positive happened, and just random people coming up and hugging you or kissing you on the cheek, and some people were crying, and this is before the final whistle even sounds, and just everyone just so jubilant and excited for what was about to happen. When it was 2-1, the party atmosphere started a little bit more. There was a little sense of hesitation, but I mean, at that point, Bournemouth really weren't doing shit. I mean, they weren't threatening goal. They weren't really doing anything. Wrexham kind of had it by the scruff of the neck. And when Paul Mullen knocked that third goal in, I mean, you just knew it was lights out, night time. The trophy, the championship and promotion were ours, and we were going up. I know they said, don't storm the pitch and everything. And that pitch invasion was amazing. And storming the pitch and seeing the celebration with the players and some of the shots that came out with like Paul Mullen and things like that. But then afterwards, to see Rob and Ryan on the pitch and the trophy celebration and just everything was such an amazing thing to kind of be there. I didn't know this at the time. Wayne actually didn't go to the match, and it was so. First of all, then I looked at him later. I was like, "What the fuck, man? You should have let me use your ticket." And then his wife was just like, "Fuck, I'm his wife, and I didn't even know that he didn't go, and I wanted to go." It was cool, but right after the match, the final whistle, he was in there, and I walked over and I hugged him, and you could just feel the weight of so much come off his shoulders. And I know I'm newer to this journey, and I appreciate so many of you that are lifelongs and have been through this road and the ups and the downs and the disappointments and the shitty owners and all of that. But to kind of have someone that you've become really good friends with and then feel that weight come off their shoulders, embracing them from you, it was just such an amazing experience. I don't know how else to relate. It was really weird. Like, I'm hugging him and stuff, and we're embracing and it was a little bit of an embrace. And I let go and I turn over and there's cameras right next to me, and I was just like, where the hell did these guys come from? And I'm just kind of laughing, like, well, shit. I hope that moment isn't blasted all over TV one day, but who knows. It was such a cool thing that I got to just experience that. And then obviously the trophy celebration, everybody going crazy. We Are the Champions was probably saying 5 million times on the jukebox. It was on constantly all night. At one point though, the turf is a sweat lodge. It was so hot, so stuffy. I just had to just get out for a few minutes. So we'll walk down to my hotel at the Premier Inn. For those of you that are familiar with Wrexham, it's 2-minute walk. Those of you who aren't, you could look up Premier Inn, Wrexham, and see how close it is to the turf of the race course. I walked there, I changed my shirt, put on some new deodorant, a little bit, I just stunk and I felt gross. Took a little towel, wiped off, and I headed back. As I'm walking back into the turf and about to go in, Wayne's kind of popping out. Wayne looks at me, he's like, "You coming?" And I've learned enough in my life that when someone says, "Are you coming?" you just kind of go with it because there's something probably happening. Go turn around the corner around a cab, and wouldn't you fucking know it, there's Ant-Man again. There is Paul Rudd standing right there, and Wayne's having a conversation. I not only got to be a part of that with Wayne and his wife, but also there's also Joe Russo. For those of you who don't know who Joe Russo is, Joe Russo is the director for Avengers and other Marvel movies. So not only did I get to meet an Avenger, I got to meet the guy who directed the Avenger movies. And it was just such a cool experience, like talking about Wrexham, talking about what this means, the connection, hearing their story about how this is a connection now for them. And us, myself, I shared a little bit about my story with them, about why this is a connection for me, and just having 15, 20 minutes of a conversation and being able to just talk to people, you really get to see the human side. And it was, look, that's credit to Wayne allowing me to have that experience. If I had just probably walked up to Paul Rudd, I don't think has his guard down. Because I was with Wayne, I think he has his guard down. He's more of himself. He's able to kind of correspond. And, with Bourbon with Friends, I've had a lot of cool experiences with celebrities. That was such a cool experience, though, because I'm a big Marvel fan, and to see that and to have that kind of little, that little tie-in was, it's just so unexpected. And I mean, who would have ever thought, at least for me, you couldn't have told me a year ago, even 2 years ago, that I'm going to be sitting in a town in Wales called Wrexham, meeting an Avenger and talking about soccer. I mean, it's such an amazing experience to see, and it's only in Wrexham. And the so many people were then asking for like interviews and comments about the match. The picture that I posted, my friend Sandy that I had just met that day, we've talked every day since. She's lives in the UK now, but she's from Canada. It went a little bit viral, went crazy. So many people just asking about the match, the atmosphere and everything like that was just so cool. And then I'm flying home the next day. The BBC International reaches out to me and asks me if I'll come live on BBC International to do an interview. So I did BBC Live before I left my hotel room on Monday morning, and I had to turn down interviews with BBC UK and CNN International because I was going to be on a flight. So I couldn't go and do live TV interviews. They wanted to do that. But just, look, that's not what it was about. It was just a cool experience to have those people kind of, asking that and to be a part of it. But, it's not what it's about. It's about the people. It's about the club. It's about the friends that I've made there. And look, you can tell that this is going to be a lifelong obsession. My son is going to grow up with Wrexham now. And these are the things that people, I think, not everyone's seen this aspect of it, but in America, I made this correlation that Wrexham is such an amazing story because it's an underdog story. It's something that people feel they can be a part of and grow with. And I'm not knocking the fact that a lot of people have grown up around Premier League clubs. Look, and I think I said this maybe on a previous podcast, and if I did, sorry. But we had Man United, we had Arsenal, we had Chelsea, AC Milan, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich. Really, those were the ones that were on TV because of the Champions League. They were on the TV the most, so you had the most exposure to those teams, and that was where you kind of gravitated to. Why those teams are so popular here, and to a lesser extent, Liverpool, they weren't as good, kind of in the formative years when soccer was starting to get really big here in the U.S. Now, I think you have a generation of people like me who are either Man United fans or Liverpool supporters or Chelsea or AC Milan, whatever. But you have this Wrexham story, and you have this incredible, feeling of belonging, and the people are so welcoming in the town, and you just feel like a part of you is there. And it doesn't even, I made this comment to a few people. When I go to Wrexham, it doesn't even feel like I left home. I just feel like I've gone to another part of home. And it's so casual for me and relaxed and awesome in the atmosphere and the people. That's why I think Wrexham is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger in the U.S. It's already becoming bigger and bigger in the U.S. They're becoming bigger all over the world. What Rob and Ryan have done from a story perspective is amazing. Today we're seeing, maybe Gareth Bale. There's a chance Gareth Bale comes out of retirement and plays for Wrexham. Just so everybody knows, I called that. If you live in Wrexham, go ask Wayne at the Turf. Did Paul say that was going to happen? I'm standing by it. Gareth Bale is going to play for Wrexham. It just makes too much sense. There's just the storyline would be too good. Ben Foster, I think, is coming back. I've there's too much out there. I think Ben Foster is 100% going to come back. I think you're going to see some interesting players start to come through Wrexham. I think you're going to start to see some really top tier American players going through the ranks that maybe instead of going to an MLS or something, they might go to Wrexham because of the exposure and using that. And look, like it or not, Wrexham's going to be maybe for the next little bit a feeder club in some instances. Some top talent's going to go in, but they're going to get some top talent back, and that's okay. Look, until they get to the Premier League, as long as they keep getting promoted, that's all that matters, right? I'm going to make a prediction now, and I'm saying Wrexham will be promoted next year. That is my call. Now, maybe they're not going to win League Two, but I think that Wrexham goes up, and I think they go up automatically. Don't think they go through the playoffs. I think they go boom, boom, and go straight to League One. Things get real awesome with that. Look, the squad is very good. There's a great core of players. They do need to strengthen the squad a little bit. I think if they strengthen the squad, with a couple players, maybe a Gareth Bale or a Robson Khan who come out of retirement and come play, those are the aspects in that League Two situation. You can really do a lot of damage, and you can be a very, very good squad. I think they're better than most League Two squads are now, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of hope, I think, for the next 2 years specifically. Look, Wrexham, I think, could go bounce. There is a good chance Wrexham could go bounce to League Two and bounce to League One and bounce into the Championship. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, when you get to the Championship, look, I don't think we're going to say League One, League Two, Championship, Premier League in 3 years. That's pushing it. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to be in the Championship in the next 3 to 4 years, in the Premier League in the next 6 or 7 years to get into the Premier League would be fucking amazing. I mean, if you think about where Wrexham are, if it takes 6 to 7 years from now, right? Not from the last season, from this season to get into the Premier League, I'd cut your arm. I'd cut your hand off for it. 100%. It'd be amazing. It's an amazing story. Either way, what happens. Now, this is where I think the momentum gets capitalized on. And there's some people that were, I saw some comments, and it's not very, very many, but we're talking about the documentary and things like that. It's not about that. It's 100% about that. It's the exposure that players can come to Wrexham and get this type of media exposure and get these advertising and get these sponsorships that they might not have at another club. They go to a Coventry or even a Luton town or something like that. Even Notts County. They don't have the exposure that Wrexham has, especially on the international level, and the ability to make different type of endorsement deals is going to be a big thing for Wrexham. And Wrexham's not going to have to pay a premium for players now to go into League Two and come down maybe a league, because of the marketing and branding opportunities that's going to be there is going to be so incredibly high. It's going to be a place that a lot of players are going to want to come to, that, or maybe starting their careers with a lot of talent, ending their careers, and maybe they don't go to the Championship, or maybe they don't go down a league. Maybe they don't go to a Wolverhampton or Crystal Palace, or a Leicester City, and maybe they come down to the Championship, or even maybe even League One and play for Wrexham. Now, maybe some people are going to think that's crazy and batshit, and that's fine. I mean, it's possible. I could be off my rocker, but Rob and Ryan are going to bring in someone else at some point with a lot of money to back this. That stadium's going to keep getting renovated. There's going to be more things done to that to make it bigger and better and more state of the art. And not in one short season, the capacity is going to go up almost 6,000. This is going to be a monumental occasion for Wrexham, and it's just going to be something I think builds more and more and more. And I cannot wait for this. I can't wait for my son to be a little bit older and take him and let him experience it. And kind of, he's going to grow up with this, and this is going to be in his DNA. You got to think about this now. Like, I have a son who's going to be 3.5, and he's going to have kids, and then they're going to be Wrexham fans, right? This starts a generational fandom. That's also how you build a very successful international club. And you have your Man Uniteds and Liverpools, where you have these, these multi-generational fan bases. Wrexham's going to start to do that. And I think 15, 20 years from now, Wrexham could potentially be a very, very big team in Europe. I mean, they're going to be a big team around the world. They're a big team in the United States. And if you're a big team in the UK and you're a big team in the United States, you're going to have a lot of revenue. You're going to have a lot of funding. You're going to have a lot of endorsements, a lot of sponsorships. There's going to be a lot of cash flow. That's going to be a very cool thing. And that to me is where Wrexham have a good shot. And if you bring in another like minority owner that has a ton of funding that can back and give them a little bit more spending power to kind of take things to that second, third, fourth tier, the sky's the limit. I can't wait to see what happens here. The rest of the weekend was interesting. I went to the FA Cup semifinal. Train down. We were going to go to my friend Kyle was going to take me to Birmingham, and I was going to take the train down to London. That didn't work. Had to go out of where did I go out of? Now why did my brain just absolutely lose its freaking mind? But there was like a bike rally or something like that, and that bike rally had closed the highway down, so we couldn't go the main way to Birmingham, and so we had to kind of take a little detour. Where in the world did I... Now this is irritating me that I forgot where Shrewsbury, that's it. Shrewsbury. I had to get the train in Shrewsbury, and I got to London like at 3:18. I still had to get to my hotel and change and then get to Wembley. I made it into my seat about 5 minutes before kickoff, so that was good. Boring ass match. I don't know, for those of you that didn't watch it, absolutely boring. It's my second FA Cup. Been in the FA Cup final. Very boring match. Obviously to the end with penalties, not a lot really happened. It was not a very exciting cup tie. I was very much struggling. I was out till about 4:30 in the morning the night before, enjoying the championship with Wrexham and having a good time with a lot of the friends that we had met. Struggling a little bit till I got a hot dog and then just powered through. But it was not a very good match, and all the real exciting things happen definitely on the pitch at the racecourse ground. So exciting news on the show front. Over the weekend, we are the #1 Wrexham related podcast on Apple in the United States. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that. We're the #2 Wrexham related podcast on Apple in the UK. Freaking phenomenal. Thank you so much, everyone, for that. I want to keep bringing content. We're going to do a preview show probably tomorrow or Friday for Torquay, and then we're going to go into the off season. We're going to bring people in from all over the world and have conversations about Wrexham with them. But on top of that, also, Spencer, I think, is going to come on. Some of you might have remembered him from the documentary. He was volunteering, running the club for a long time. We've talked to him. I think we're going to set up a time for him to come on the show. So that'll be a really cool conversation as well. And then obviously we get into the summer friendlies, and I'm going to probably attend one of those, and we'll do some preview, post-match fun stuff like that. It's be a little bit more upbeat because it's going to, friendlies don't really matter. It's just going to be fun. It's going to be great exposure. And I think we're going to talk about from the marketing and more marketing side and how big it is for Wrexham and seeing what it's doing within the United States. So thank you everyone so much for listening. If you do listen and you are listening on Apple Podcasts or even Spotify, if you could give us 5 stars on Spotify, or if you can leave a review on Apple, it just means so much. It helps myself out. It helps other people find this. Trying to create content and engaging, it does take time out of the day. It just means a lot when you see that. So if you do see you do have a moment and you could give that, I'd really appreciate that. We are the champions, baby. I'm so excited. It's just an amazing experience. And here's the bigger and better things. I cannot wait to go to the opening match next season and, get to Wrexham a couple times next year and get to do these live in the turf again. Those are really fun shows, and just keep doing bigger and better things and engaging with everybody out there. And I hope the live shows continue to grow, and maybe we'll start to do some watch-alongs as we get more followers and more engagement. You know, the more that you guys share the show and the more that you guys engage with the program, the more things that I'll be able to do, the more things I'll want to do to engage everybody. You know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But I'm so blessed and humbled by the reception that I've had so far, and just very excited to see what the future brings. We are the champions. Wrexham are going up. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Talk to you soon.
And that's a wrap for Up the Town. Thanks for joining us and being part of the worldwide Wrexham family.